Hello, my name's Thebe and I'm a farm vet and I'm today talking with Leaf Open Farm Sunday about being a farm vet, and today I'm on Rob's farm in beautiful Derbyshire with some cows behind me. So if you've got any questions, please ask away and I'm happy to answer them. But I'm going to talk a little bit about being a farm vet and talk a little bit about this farm and some of the cows here, and hopefully maybe we'll have a look around later if we've still got some time. Can you see them behind me? All very nice and calm there. So this is the maternity pen we're in today. So all these cows are heavily pregnant, and we might be lucky and see something calve, but so far they're quite quiet. So farming is essential. You know, all our food is safely produced in this country, and farming is part of the system. And what I want to talk about is vets being part of that food production system as well. So, you know, it's important these animals are raised, and I'm really proud to be part of that story. And what I can do is help support farmers with the health, the welfare, and support in the business as well. So farm vets we probably imagine as being people who just come and treat animals when they're ill, but actually it's much bigger than that. Prevention is always better than treatment. So part of the work of farm vets is to work with the farmers to think of ways of preventing disease and preventing illnesses. So planning ahead, that's a really important part. And again, most farms in this country will have a herd health plan, which will have input from vets, but from other industries as well, such as nutritionists and people supporting the reproduction, fertility, and others as well. And what we do is we look at how do we plan ahead to prevent things going wrong. Farm vets can be involved in that stage. I'm a farm consultant, so I used to do the carving and the late night work, but what I do now is I'm on farm talking to farmers, and my main area is mainly nutrition. So again, you know, nutrition is really essential for farm animals, and getting that right can mean, you know, animals live longer, happier, and produce more milk in this case, or grow better as well. So getting that right and supporting farmers in that way is important. Farm vets can do lots of other things as well. So if we think about exporting food products, vets are involved. Vets are involved in policy and working for the government. Vets are involved in education. So I previously was a senior lecturer in livestock production, and I taught students and helped support the farms there as well. And vets can be, you know, part of lots of other things as well. So again, we can work in the army and support farms abroad as well. And part of my work is abroad sometimes as well. So my big passion is dairy cows, and I love being around dairy cows, and that's where I'm at the moment. And I think in this country we're very lucky. You know, dairy production is such an important part of agriculture. 96% of people in this country drink milk or consume dairy products, and so getting it right is really important. And as a vet, I'm very, very proud about the gains we've made in reducing antibiotic usage in dairy production. So we're one of the lowest users of antibiotic use in Europe, and animal welfare is one of our strong points about British farming. And I think, you know, we should all be proud about that as well. And, you know, the way that our milk is produced, it's one of the safest things, and it's one of the most nutritious things that we can consume. So producing milk is really important. And for a cow to produce milk, it needs to have a calf. So some farming systems, the farmers will produce calves all the year round, so they have a steady flow of milk. On this farm here, Rob's farm here, they're a spring calving herd. So what that means is that most of the cows will have their calf in a 2-month period, give or take. And so the planning has to happen before then. So Rob has thought, so a cow's gestation is 9 months. So 9 months ago, we would have planned when to get the cows pregnant, what type of calf we want, thinking about the genetics of the calf, and then looked after this cow so that she can calve around this time so that we're around to support that calf, to make sure that the mother is well, the calf is well. And then these cows are grazed for most of the year. So they're in the shed for when they give birth. And then once they've had the calf, then the cows are happy to go and graze and eat grass later on. So it's important that when they're in the shed, they're looked after well, and I can tell they are. You know, look at the cows behind me. They're all quiet. Most of them are lying down. They're chewing their cud. There's plenty of light in this shed, which is good. There's plenty of ventilation, which is really, really important for health. So again, you know, I can feel that standing at cow level, I can feel the breeze. I can't hear any coughing, can't see any problems. So, you know, the ventilation is really, really good. And if you look, you know, at the floor, you can see how thick the straw on the floor is. So if I look at this, we can see that there's plenty of straw and they're lying down, and so they're nice and happy. And it's important that cows lie down. When they need to lie down for about 16 hours a day, and they ruminate, and when they chew the food to produce to release the nutrition that they need to support the growth of that calf inside them, but also to produce a milk once they've had that calf. So these cows, they are black and white, but they're 50% Jersey, 50% Friesian cows. So these cows have been particularly chosen because of their stature. They're slightly smaller than the big Holsteins that we imagine, but they are very good for grazing. They're very efficient at grazing. They also produce a type of calves that work well in this system. So a lot of thought has gone into that breeding system. And these cows are very healthy. So again, they don't suffer from many diseases here. They produce about, I've been told, 20 litres a day on average. And if you drink Arla milk, so if you drink, Sainsbury's milk and at Tesco's, and for example, they use Arla, again, that's the sort of milk that these cows are producing. And they've got good constituents as well, so there's plenty of protein and fats in there, which is good for us. So just have another look around here. You can see it's nice and quiet, which is a good thing. I've got some cows coming in as well behind me. So has anybody got any questions? So Annabelle's asked if the cows go outside to the fields to graze, and the answer is yes, they do. So cows only come inside, to protect the fields, because the fields are very wet. If you have cows walking over them, they're going to damage them for the following year. And the other reason is that cows, when they are giving birth at this time, it's quite easy to watch them and to be there in case anything does need assistance or help. So that's the two big reasons why they are housed at the moment. But these cows are mainly grazing cows, so that's why they're in. But these ones will go out once they've had their calves. But there are 280 cows being milked at the moment, so they'll get milked and then they'll be taken out back to the fields. The cows, I've been told, are grazed for over 200 days a year. So I've been asked, how often do you visit a farmer in a consultancy role? It all depends on what you're doing with the farmer. So if we're making changes and recommended a change that the farmer wants to make, we'd probably at least once a month visit the farmer just to make sure that we can monitor those changes. Modern dairies now, a lot of information is electronic. A lot of data is recorded, and it's also an important part of what the milk producers want and what the herd assurances want. So again, we can look at a lot of data online and talk over the phone. So, you don't always have to come on farm, and especially we've learned that over this last year during the COVID situation. But again, it depends on how often, we are in contact the farmer on the phone more regularly, but we can also visit, and we will do that once we can open up more. So, another question, how much does a cow weigh? How long's a piece of string? So, these cows would be on average about 520 kilos. But if you think about these big American Holsteins, those are about 600, 650 kilos. And then if you think about bull, they could be a ton and a half up to. Are there any cows you would recommend for cheese production, or is it more dependent on what they graze on? So milk quality or milk constituents depends on a number of things. So it depends on the genetics of the cow, and it depends on the nutrition, and it depends on the health of the cow. And we're looking for cheese production constituents like fats and proteins. So, for example, Jersey cows produce a less volume but higher constituents, whereas Holstein cows will produce more fluid, liquid, less constituents. But again, it depends on the thing. So these are half Jersey cows. So they will have higher constituents, and so will be good for cheese production. Again, on what they graze is important as well. So grass, there isn't a single type of grass. There's lots of different types of grass and different qualities of grass. And depending on the soil conditions and on the weather, grass can have different qualities as well. So again, sometimes if the grass is poorer quality, then farmers might need to add in extra nutrients. If the grass is good quality and the soils are rich, then maybe the farmers can cut down on those nutrients. But milk is tested, so when the milk is collected, it's tested and the results are sent to farmers, and farmers can work with their nutritionists to balance the nutrition to get what they need. So, as a vet, what we can do is we can look at a cow, and you can look at body condition to see, how healthy they look at their skin condition. We can watch them walking to make sure, there's no lamenesses or anything like that. Again, that cow behind me there is a really good example of what I'd like to see on a farm. She's nice and relaxed, and she's chewing her food, which is a good thing. So any more questions anybody has got at the moment? Do you know what time it is? Time. 43, perfect. So what we'll do is I'm just going to show you some of the cows just lying across the yard, just to show you what the milking cows and seeing how they're doing. So we'll leave these cows at the moment. So Jenny has asked, what's the most common reasons to get called out to a farm? So, one thing about cows is you need to do regular fertility visits and nutrition visits, 2 times a month to, once a month to once every 2 months, depending on how much fertility work and nutrition work you're doing. But again, during calving season, you might be called out more. And then when the cows are out in the middle of summer, there'll be less reason to go out and see cows. So it all depends on the routine work and the emergency work. And emergencies will normally be calving problems, or just after calving, sometimes cows just need an extra support where vets might be called out. Other than that, during the middle of milking, normally cows are fairly good at doing things. And farmers are very good at doing a lot themselves. So a lot of farmers will be able to do a lot and can ask for advice over the phone and get support that way. So again, vets don't always have to go on farm to support the cows. So if I show you behind me, we can see some sheds there. So I'll show you this cow here. So she's just been milked and she's coming back. So we want to take them away from the field as less time as possible. So all the cows will be taken from the fields, milked, and then come back out. And while they're waiting for their friends, they have a little drink and they can have a lie down. And if you can see behind me, down that shed, you can see all the cows standing in little areas, and they're called cubicles. So each cow has its own space, and on the bottom of the cubicles is a rubber matting, latex matting. So it's a really comfortable bed, and what you can tell it's comfortable because most of the cows are lying down, which is a really, really good sign. So like I said, lying down is really, really important. less time on their feet, they get less problems that way, and they're going to be chewing their cud. So we can see the cows all the way down there lying down. They've got access to plenty of water, and again, there's plenty of light there, plenty of ventilation, and they've got a nice big gap in the middle to walk up and down, so they don't get each other's way. So that's what we like to see there, and so there's 3 openings there for the cows. You can see one side has got no cows at the moment, so when the other cows come out, they can go there and lie down. So that's a really good sight there. And the cow behind me is just interested in being on TV, so say hi to her. And that's what we like to see there. So those cubicles have been designed, you know, with the right space for the cows to get in and out comfortably. Yep, so what happens to calves on this farm? Are they kept? So there's new rules now, especially with Arla, where calves, you know, have to be looked after well and then have to be raised, you know, somewhere. Now, some farmers will raise their own calves, some farmers will send calves to specialists who will raise the calves somewhere else. And on this farm we send them to specialists who have more time and have the facilities to look after calves well. And 60 calves are kept on this farm for replacements, and the rest of the calves go to another specialist place where they can then use the males for one purpose, for meat, and the females can then be sold to other farms who need replacements. But this farm is very special, so they're a closed herd, and that means they don't bring anything in from anywhere else. They raise their own replacements, and that's a really, really good thing to keep disease out and to maintain the strength of their genetics as well. Because things are run so well, that's what they do. So again, they raise their own female calves here, which go on once they get to 2 years old. They have their calf, and then they can join the herd to start to produce milk. Are there any more questions? I've got 2 minutes left before I have to leave you, but I hope you've enjoyed this little talk. What we'll do is we'll see the calves very quickly, just to show you how well looked after they are, and so we can see here we've got some cows eating some silage, and silage is basically pickled grass, so it preserves the grass, the good quality grass, and they get something to eat. And we've got some calves here, and we've got some interested calves here. So these are some of the calves that are all lying down. So again, I always keep pushing that lying down thing, but I love it when I see animals so relaxed like that, just lying down and enjoying themselves. And you can tell they're quite spaced out nicely, so there's some good ventilation there. And if we look here, we can see some very interested calves here. And the problem with this is if I go too close, I'll get licked to death. So so will my camera. But you can see that they're all nice and alert. So we've got all of them now. So yeah. So if you've got any more questions, I'm happy to answer them. What's the best part of being a livestock vet? I think this is the best part of being a livestock vet. Having these as your part of your day. So thank you very much, everyone, and I hope that's been useful. And hope you enjoy the rest of the day and enjoy the other talks. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye.